Family photo stayed on the wall. She was the only one they cut out, not literally. Someone had simply moved another frame in front of her face. If you visited the house, you wouldn't even know she had ever been there. For 23 years, she had been a daughter, a sister, a wife. Then one afternoon, she became the villain. People always ask what happened. They expect a scandal, an affair, a betrayal, some terrible secret. The truth is much smaller than that. She got tired of apologizing, tired of shrinking herself, tired of being the only person trying to keep a marriage alive while everyone else called that love. Her husband wasn't a monster. That's what made it confusing. He wasn't cruel every day. He wasn't violent. He didn't scream. He simply made sure that every room belonged to him. Every decision, every holiday, every friendship, every dream. Little by little, she disappeared, and nobody noticed, not even her. The first time she said she wasn't happy, her mother smiled and said, "Marriage is hard. You'll get over it." The second time, her sister laughed. "You always overthink everything." The third time, she stopped talking because she realized they weren't listening. They were protecting the story they wanted to believe. Dark psychology has a strange rule. When someone refuses to play their role, the people who benefited from that role panic. The quiet wife, the forgiving daughter, the one who always fixes everything. If she changes, everyone else has to change too. And that's much harder. Divorce papers arrived on a Tuesday. No shouting, no broken plates, no dramatic goodbye, just 2 signatures, a few tears, and a silence so deep it almost sounded peaceful. She thought the hardest part was over. She was wrong. The story started almost immediately. She gave up. She destroyed the family. She was selfish. She changed after she got that new job. Someone else must be involved. People who had never asked if she was happy suddenly had endless opinions about why she left. An old family friend called her. She didn't ask, "Are you okay?" She asked, "Why would you do this to him?" That was the moment she understood. Nobody was interested in her story. They had already written one. And in their version, she was the villain. Months later, she ran into one of her neighbors. The woman looked surprised. She smiled softly. Then she said, "You look different." She almost apologized. Then she caught herself. Different. Not broken. Not guilty. Not ashamed. Just different. She started sleeping through the night. She stopped checking her phone every 5 minutes. She stopped rehearsing conversations that had never happened. For the first time in years, she could sit alone with a cup of coffee and hear her own thoughts. The silence wasn't empty. It was hers. Sometimes people ask, "Do you regret leaving?" She always gives the same answer. "I regret how long I stayed, because the marriage wasn't what broke her. Pretending she was happy did." If you've ever left a relationship, you probably know this feeling. The moment you stop carrying everyone else's expectations, they call you selfish. The moment you stop fixing everyone else's pain, they call you cold. The moment you finally choose yourself, they call you the villain. Not because you became one, but because the story needed one. The old family photo is probably still hanging on that wall. Maybe her face is still hidden behind another frame. Maybe they still tell visitors what a terrible mistake she made. Maybe they always will. But that woman in the picture doesn't live there anymore. She stopped fighting to stay inside someone else's version of her life. And one quiet Tuesday afternoon, she walked out of a story that was never really hers. They called it betrayal. She finally realized it was freedom.